Hello everyone, and in this video I am going to be using this thermal imaging camera on the engine. Okay, so in my last video, it was basically the engine was in pieces. Something had gone wrong at Snetterton, big damaged spark plug, that sort of thing. So I sent it off to SRD, not taking any chances, so they could do proper look through the whole thing and see what was wrong with it. So essentially, the engine's now back in. Got it all fitted at the weekend, so that is mint. So number 2 cylinder and 3 showed a bit of signs of heat, but number 2 had taken a lot of temperature. So it was definitely an airlock situation. Fueling seemed okay. So essentially it's had to have a new piston ring in number 2, an exhaust valve, and the seat just needed reseating, which is why I was a little bit low on compression. So that is in, it's refitted, and now I've got a header tank. So I fit this as high as possible. That is basically just missing the bonnet, from AH Fabrications, the same as my dry sump, nice quality stuff. So that is a header tank half filled with water. The bottom feed hose runs around and actually connects to the pump inlet, so the pump is actually pulling on that slightly. Outlet from here, that is now a solid cap with no blow off on it, and this feed pipe then is basically the vent pipe for the air bubbles to get back to that catch tank. So I'm hoping that now solves my issues, because this radiator, it should really have a bleed on it in hindsight, but looking at the levels, if I just level that off, you can see it is only just lower than that cap. So I think the problem has always been, I've had quite a few engine problems over the years with this car, and I think basically I did not have enough expansion. So the engine was blowing off water, not replenishing it, cooling down when I went out to a race and actually dropping the water level and semi-exposing the cylinder head, causing these problems. So I'm going to run it up today, as I have fired it already just to check everything's working, but I'm actually going to use this Bosch thermal imaging camera to just see what the temperatures are like on radiators, flow, return hoses, what temperature we're tracking back to the tank. So that will all be very exciting. The only other thing is I had a lot of vibration, so you might have noticed in my videos from Snetterton it was sort of oscillating the camera, and in the second race it really was bad. So I took the diff apart, and here is a picture of what I found. That is the diff ripping off its chassis again. I've had to do a bit of a bodge in time for Donington, basically welding it up, but welding a bar onto the upright as well, to try and thicken the material, because it looks like it's a little bit thin on that mount. So I've redone that. That wasn't the source of the vibration though, unfortunately. As you can see on here, that is my crown wheel and pinion out of the diff. I don't know if it's going to show up very well on the camera here. You can see, you might be able to see, the pinion has basically lost a lot of material. So the free play, as soon as I took the diff out, I actually noticed there was so much free play on there, it's ridiculous. So unfortunately that is dead and is going to be an ornament. Luckily, Mark at Le Mans they've always done my diffs, even in the Spitfire days, because it's a Spitfire diff. Why change? So he's turned it around really quick for me. I've had a new old stock 4:11 ratio diff put in, open diff of course, because that's what the came with. I wish I could have a limit slip diff, but never mind. That is now back in the car as well, all bolted up. So I've got a new diff, engine's rebuilt, And so fingers crossed that is everything for a happy weekend's racing at Donington this weekend. But for now, I will run up this engine and let's see what the thermal imaging camera does. I'm just going to run it up so it'll actually idle a little bit because it's a little bit lumpy until it started warming up. We'll see what this camera does. You can see now it's just starting to pick up temperature, so I've actually put a temperature lock on it. See at 55 degrees, so what it's going to do, instead of it altering, that's just going to show us a massive block of heat, but it's going to show me the heat through here. So I can already see from the front, look at how hot that core is. So the core's really hot, but you go up to the very top and that top alloy is still quite cool, so it's possibly suggesting I've got a little bit of air just in the top of the system there still. That radiator hose is starting to get up to temperature nicely. You can see the return that's coming in. That hose is coming through into the fuel pump. The hoses around here are actually starting to pick up temperature as well. We're showing about 40 degrees on there, so it is blowing the water through. So we'll see how that picks up. What are we at now? 68, 67, 68 degrees. Go through to the temperature gauge on the inside. Maybe up towards 70. Where are we? That's the temperature gauge, so 40, 50, 60, just coming up to 70 degrees now. So the core, the core's at 70 degrees. So I'd say that my temperature sensor's pretty accurate. Got much higher temperature coming through here now, which is great. You can see that core just starting to heat up. So this shroud that's under there, have a look, see if I pull out a little bit. Yeah, I can't see. It's nice and steady across there. You can see now when this adjusts, see how that's all starting to warm up. You can see the block just starting to warm up. It's remarkable though how cool it is still. Yeah, 70 degrees there. Be interesting now though to see when I turn the fan on if it creates a cold spot in the radiator. So that's turned the fan on. So the fan is going to start picking up temperature now. And I'm just wondering from this side. Yeah, look at that. So you can suddenly see now a much cooler spot there. The core's gone down to 40 degrees compared to 70 at the sides, and that's just where the fan is running. So that's pretty cool. So I'll let this carry on warming up, see what sort of temperatures we get to. So we're nearing 80 odd degrees, getting sort of 80, nearly 90 now. I've turned the fan back off. You can see how that radiator core's doing really well. That pipe is flowing nice and hot as well as we get onto there. Got about 67 degrees on the outside of the rubber. Obviously the rubber insulates well. The exhaust is staying at a sort of, 370 degrees, something like that. And go over here, should hopefully alter its calibration. So it's doing pretty good. So from there, I'm basically just going to monitor this now, run it up to temperature, keep the fan running, see how it goes, then I'll take it out on the road in another video though. So that's all we have time for today. Donington is this weekend, looks like I'm going to be there, so let's go.